Okay, I would like to call to order the April 6, 2021 work session and committee meeting of the Hatboro-Horsham School District Board of School Directors. Please be aware that this meeting is being recorded. The opinions expressed by any member of the public do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Hatboro-Horsham School District Board of School Directors and are solely those of the presenter. The Hatboro-Horsham District Board hereby expressly disclaims any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Reichert, could we have roll call, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Jen Wilson.
Here.
Dave Brown.
Here.
Eric Coombs.
Here.
Tyra Connor Halston.
Here.
Teresa Brown.
Here.
Susan Hunzinger Hoff.
Here.
DJ Schultz.
Here.
Jim Greenhall.
Here.
And Marion McCouch.
Thank you. Okay, up first we have a presentation by the Interact Club.
Okay. Hi, I'm Marcy Verano. I'm a high school guidance counselor, and I'm also the sponsor of the Interact Club. And I'm here tonight with 3 of our current officers who are absolute shining stars at the high school, and they want to share a little bit about the club. For those of you who are not familiar with Interact, it's a community service club, and we are sponsored by the Rotary Clubs, and we're fortunate in our district to have the support of both the Hatboro and Horsham Rotary Clubs. So we have 2 groups that support us in all of our endeavors, and they're super generous with their time, their spirit, and also financially supporting us as well. The motto of Interact and Rotary is service above self. And you're going to see from these students that that's truly at the core of everything that they do. They are one of the most inclusive groups at the high school. They're always welcoming new members. The guidance counselors, as soon as we have a new student, we know that that's a club where they can feel safe and get to know all the wonderful things that we do at the high school. It's a very eclectic group. They're kids who are involved in all different types of activities and interests, but they have the common goal of helping others. I'll describe them often as quiet leaders because they really lead by example, and they seem to be altruistic in everything they do. They're really doing it just to improve our community. They're not looking for any kind of recognition, but they're thrilled to be here tonight to highlight some of the things that we've been doing and plan to do. This year has been a struggle for them because they're used to being out in the community pretty much every weekend, and during the week together 2 to 3 times a week, we spend time working on our projects in person. So it was super disappointing when we obviously couldn't do that, just like we've all faced. But what they've come out of this as being more resilient, more resourceful, and more creative than I've ever seen our students. I've been the Interact sponsor. I think I became the sponsor in 1997 for the first time. So I've been doing it many years, and I have to tell you, these leaders are the best I've seen. So tonight we have Lindsay Park, who's a current senior, and she'll be attending University of Pennsylvania next year, majoring in mechanical engineering. And she is one of the co-presidents. Megan Farzetta is a co-president. She is going to be attending Gwinnett Mercy's honors nursing program in the fall. And then Ella Warden, she is a current sophomore, and I always think of her as almost a senior because she's so mature and in her leadership as well. So these 3 shining stars are current officers. They work together as a team. and they really represent Hatboro-Horsham very, very well in our community. I'm constantly getting really positive feedback from anyone they interact with in our community and even within our school building and other buildings in our school. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the girls because they really are the leaders of everything that we do.
Thank you, Mrs. Verano, and good evening to everyone. We are here to speak about the Interact Club here at the high school, and we appreciate the opportunity to share more about the club with all of you tonight. Thank you again. Our goals are to help as many people in our surrounding communities as well as all of those who are a bit further away. And we can proudly say that we have a great group of leaders who are driven, successful, inspirational, and also extremely kind-hearted. My name is Megan Farzetta, and I am a senior and also one of the co-presidents of the Interact Club.
My name is Lindsay Park. I'm also a senior and the other co-president of the Interact Club.
My name is Ella Warden. I am a sophomore and the social media chair of the Interact Club.
So just a little bit about Interact. To iterate what Mrs. Verana said, we are a community service-based organization that works closely with both the Hatboro and Horsham Rotary Clubs. We currently have over 70 club members, and on Instagram we have over 170 followers, which is one of our primary sources of communication in addition to Remind. Every month we have meetings where we go over service activities, both virtual and in person, and we like to start each meeting with an icebreaker like Pictionary to kickstart the meeting and ease the tension and establish a comfortable environment despite the pandemic. So through the Interact Club, we work closely with Angels in Motion, a nonprofit organization that provides aid and relief to those coping with addiction in the intercity of Philadelphia. In years prior, we participated in blessing bag parties to assemble packets of food supplemented with hope notes for those coping with addiction. Despite the restrictions of the pandemic, however, we still found ways to serve Angels in Motion. Through Pop-Tart drives, which you could see all the donations we got in the pictures here, we provided AIM with the necessary supplies to continue making these bags, even though we couldn't be there in person. We've been having multiple drives per month and accumulated a large surfeit of supplies, as you can see as pictured, and we're happy to continue working with Angels in Motion.
In February, Interact partnered with Sarah Smiles Foundation, a locally based nonprofit organization that helps bring cheer and a more positive, more empowered experience for children diagnosed with cancer. Members of Interact, along with many teachers, faculty, and their children in our Hatboro-Horsham district, colored a little under 200 cloud-shaped inspiration cards that are being given to children in care packages around the country. These cloud-shaped cards provide the personal element to the packages that make the children feel uplifted and supported, and are used to decorate and brighten up the children's hospital rooms. Jen Burke, the founder of Sarah Smiles Foundation, was very thankful and appreciative of the thoughtfulness of everyone who participated in this event and loves the colored clouds. We plan to do this event again next year.
The Marshalls of Home Goods in Doylestown were generous enough to donate 10,000 masks to our club, which we were able to help so many people with. Masks have quickly become an essential accessory in everyone's wardrobes. However, unfortunately, they are not always as easy to find as that t-shirt or pair of jeans. Having this surplus of masks was a great opportunity for us to be able to help so many others and create lots of new connections and relationships. As you can see by the PowerPoint slide, we have made connections with people all over, and I'm excited to announce that next week I will be having the opportunity to go to Chesterbrook Academy in North Wales and interact with some of the children while letting them pick out some masks that they like. With COVID, it's been a huge challenge to see the reactions of all the people we're helping, so I'm really excited to go see all their smiling faces. I'll be happy to share some pictures afterwards, and my hope is that before the end of the year, we'll be able to collect more donations that are geared towards homemade cards and letters to give out to those essential workers.
Members donated their time at the Jarrett Nature Center twice this year, once in November and more recently in March, where they planted trees and picked up trash in the Nature Center and around the high school. The volunteers help keep the community clean and litter-free while also enjoying fresh air and the outdoors.
We also offered virtual community service opportunities to accommodate for the limitations of the pandemic. We understand that some students feel more comfortable staying home, and we want to give them opportunities to serve from the comfort and safety of their own homes. So 2 of the most popular virtual community service activities were the transcription of documents through institutions like the Smithsonian Museum, which you could see here, where there's a historical document and students read it and type it up for further revisions, and also answering trivia questions. And for every question you get right, grains of rice are donated through the Free Rice organization, and the ad revenue from the website makes these donations possible.
Another thing that we did was we helped Tend to Hope, which was born out of a family's experiences navigating numerous mental health hospitalizations. It's their very small way of bringing comfort to other individuals and their families who are in this crisis. Our club is proud to say that we worked closely with Key Club as well as Helping Little Hands to help us spread the awareness about this drive through the very large number of all of our members. Items such as personal hygiene, coloring books, tactile toys, and of course those sunflower seeds were collected to help them fill those Seeds of Hope boxes. If anyone has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them to the best of our abilities. And thank you so much for listening.
And if anyone would ever like to attend one of our meetings, we can forward you the link. We have a meeting tomorrow during HATS, and you're welcome to join us anytime.
Well, thank you all for coming and sharing with us. And yeah, I'd be happy to come to one of your meetings sometime. So please send me that link.
Sounds good. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good luck to you all. Job well done.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the time for community input on agenda items. Any members of the public wishing to make a comment during the board meeting can raise your hand, and the facilitator will unmute you when it is, or I'm sorry, will make you a presenter when it is your time to speak. You need to unmute yourself, and you have 3 minutes. You can raise your hand if you've called in by hitting *9 on your phone, or if you're in through Zoom, you can raise your hand by using the raise hand feature in Zoom. Are there any members of the public wishing to make a comment on board agenda items?
Yes, Madam President. First up, we have Karen Leifer. I'm sorry, I apologize if I mispronounce. You can go ahead and unmute and make your comment.
Hi there. It doesn't matter how you pronounce my last name. It's been pronounced all different kinds of ways. Anyway, I would like to thank the board, the president, and everybody there for taking such good care of our students and teachers during this pandemic. It was very thoughtful I know it was tough for people to do virtual, but we were, as a nurse, it's very important that we protect our children and our teachers from getting.
Sorry, this is the comment period for agenda items only. And
oh, I wanted to thank you for all that you've done.
Yes,
okay.
I appreciate it, but there is a comment section at the end for non-agenda items.
Oh, thank you. So put me away.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Are there any other members wishing to speak about agenda items?
I do not see any other hands raised at this time, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. Review of the minutes from the March 15th legislative action meeting. So the minutes are here. If there's anything that needs to be revised, please let us know, and we can address that before we vote on the approval of the meeting minutes next month. Does anyone have any comments on the agenda or the meeting minutes, rather? Okay. We have an item for consideration. It's the revised district calendar. Dr. Eveslog.
Yes, this is, thank you, Madam President. This is just the adjusted calendar for the 2020-2021 school year, our current school year, reflective of any changes that occurred this year as a result of weather emergencies or adjustments. And we'll just ask for your vote on this at the meeting, at the action meeting on the 19th, and it's here for your review and review from the public.
And what changes were made to the calendar?
It just would reflect any days that were a weather emergency day. So if we had a snow day, that's reflected here. The adjusted professional learning days are reflected there. And so this would be the calendar of record for this school year.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the time for the public to offer comment on agenda or non-agenda items. So any members of the public wishing to make a comment can raise your hand. If you are on Zoom, you can raise your hand using the raise hand feature. If you're on the phone, you can raise your hand using the *9 feature. Your speaking is limited to 3 minutes. Please be sure to state your name, address, municipality of residence. And are there any members wishing to make a comment?
There are. Thank you, Madam President. All right, Karen, you are first up. Go ahead and unmute and you can speak.
Okay, here I am again, folks. Okay, I live at 54 Palomino Court in Horsham, and I will just continue or finish what I said before. The school board has done a wonderful job protecting our teachers and our students from this terrible disease, and I'm very pleased with how you've accomplished that. And I want to thank you again for all your hard work. I'm sure you've put in many, many, many hours. And again, thank you very much for your determination and your wonderfulness. Have a good day, everybody. A good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leifer.
Okay, thank you very much. Next is Maggie Kistner. Maggie, you can go ahead and unmute and speak.
Hello, this is Maggie Kistner. I'm at 523 Sherwood Lane in Horsham. I just read recently about Pennsylvania schools. They're getting nearly $5 billion from the federal COVID-19 aid package that was signed earlier last month. I read that Hatboro-Horsham will be receiving nearly $3 million. So school districts must use at least 20% of the money to address learning loss from the pandemic, as well as support for social, emotional, and academic needs of underrepresented students, including students from low-income families, those with disabilities, and English language learners. Schools may use the rest of the money for professional training, technology, cleaning supplies, summer and after-school programs, and mental health and services and other expenses. So I was just wondering if you know when the district will receive the money. Is there a plan yet on how to use this money? And if so, where will the plan be posted? And if not, when will you have a plan and who is facilitating it? Also, I want to know if there is a plan to use more than the minimum 20% required to address learning losses. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kistner.
Okay, next we have Sean Fagan. Sean, you can go ahead and unmute and speak.
Thank you. My name is Sean Fagan. I live at 711 Marietta Drive in Ambler. I enjoyed the student presentations tonight. It was great to see how engaged our student leaders are in the community. I also recognize while we're not out of the pandemic yet, I'd like to express my appreciation and thanks to Dr. Eveslog, the COVID task force, and the amazing teachers and staff in our school district. Back in July, the framework that would be used to guide reopening discussions and decisions was shared with the community, and I appreciate the consistency and commitment to those guiding principles throughout this difficult time. I would also like to acknowledge the school board directors While you all have been elected into your positions, at the end of the day, you're all volunteering your time and working countless hours for our students, educators, and community. Your efforts are greatly appreciated, especially during the pandemic. Lastly, I would like to make a general comment. Over the past year or so, I have witnessed how passionate our community is about our children's education and their futures. However, I believe we are at a critical inflection point for our school district. And moving forward, I hope we could find a way to harness our community's passion and energy to come together to chart a positive and productive path forward for our students, teachers and staff, and community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fagan.
Okay, and that is all the raised hands I see in the meeting, Madam President.
All right, thank you.
Madam President, if I may, Mr. Riker can speak to some of our approaches to the grant money. I know that's been we've received many questions about it, and understandably so. It has been a relatively complex process, the awarding of grant money and the guidelines under which we have to operate to use grant money, but we do have a plan in place. And if Mr. Riker can just briefly speak to that, I think that would be helpful.
Sure, thank you. Yes, we are expecting to receive a good portion of federal grant, COVID-related grant funding, somewhere in the area of $4 million plus. We don't know exactly when we will receive the federal grant funding. We're currently in the application process and working collectively, internally, and with the board on the eligible use of those funds and what we will be spending those funds on. There's no immediate need or rush to expend the funds. There is a time frame of the 2023 to 2024 year that we have to expend the funds overall. Obviously our intent is to follow the guidelines and put the funding to the best use possible to enhance our educational and operational programs. So that's where we are at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Riker.
Madam President, I believe you're muted.
Thank you. Are there any comments from board members or Dr. Eveslov?
I have some comments, Madam President. Sure. So thank you and good evening, everyone. I just want to start by offering my kudos to our student presenters from the Interact Club. Megan, Lindsay, and Ella, you were great, as expected. We appreciate your leadership and you sharing with us some of the good things you're doing in the community, and we appreciate the leadership of Mrs. Verano as the sponsor of the Interact Club. So thank you to our presenters. Today, we were pleased to welcome back our students to in-person instruction 5 days a week. I want to thank the efforts of our students, our families, and staff to help get us to this point. There was great energy in the building today, and it felt good to have so many students back with us. We're roughly 80% of our students at the elementary level, 76% at the middle school level, and 63% at the high school level of students who elected for the 5-day in-person model. This is a time I deem as one of cautious excitement. We're excited that the kids are back. We're also cautious that there are some messages we're hearing of the rising case counts and impact of some unknown variants. As communicated in our communication with the community yesterday, we are aware of the case counts rising. We're monitoring that closely, and we'll continue to keep people abreast of our response to those cases should they arise. There have been no shortage of challenges through this pandemic. One of the challenges has been the ability to predict and project what things will look like from a long-term basis. Looking at case counts and situations 4 or 6 weeks out has sometimes been problematic, both in school and in society. we had some projections and hopes for what the spring and summer could look like. But like I said, there are amidst some uncertainty. Some projections we've heard have been realized and others have not. The projections we heard around 6 weeks ago about where we would be right now is an example where they just have not been fully accurate. They were trending in a direction that looked as if they would be accurate, but it did not end up that way. So as we return students and we're excited, we also know that it's an important time for us to be extremely vigilant in our schools in maintaining our health and safety protocols. What is certain is that we're learning more and more about the virus regularly, how it spread, where the risks lie, which mitigation strategies are more and less effective, and how to respond to cases and situations. The dashboard on the website will continue to be updated and maintained with counts of cases in each building. There's also been some detailed language that's been added to the website to help explain those counts. Through this, we've been advised through the Montgomery County Office of Public Health to consult with them when case counts rise to the building level thresholds. And as we return from the break, the case counts were reset to 0. So you'll see that on the dashboard. But in the event that the counts do rise, there will no longer automatically prompt a school closure if we hit that threshold. And instead will be considered in consultation with the Office of Public Health within the context of that situation, what the status of the contact tracing is, how transmission is occurring within the community, and in the event that it occurred in school, which we have not seen, but we hope not to, and then assess what's both the best interests of school, students, and public health before determining an action for mitigation. So as always, we'll communicate those situations as they occur. I just want to pledge to continue to keep the community updated on where we stand with that. And while we are super excited about kids being back with us, just encourage that discipline and ongoing vigilance around the health and safety protocols. So I'd also like to just share some good news with us. A lot of good news, but I'll share a couple things. Congratulations to Keith Valley 6th grader Jonathan on becoming the grand champion of the virtual 2021 Scripps Bucksmont Regional Spelling Bee. So Jonathan's accomplishments were featured in Montgomery media, and we're proud of Jonathan representing Hatboro-Horsham so well. And kudos to our Eastern Center students. Hatboro-Horsham had 6 students who attend the Eastern Center who won medals at the Skills USA district competition. We had 2 first place finishers who advanced to the state level competition, Gabriella Gushu and Abigail Mason, both in cosmetology, are advancing to states. We also had several other students who medaled, including Megan Farzetta, who presented earlier tonight, and she's a superstar tonight, so kudos to Megan. In allied health, Jacob Bascala in construction technology, Joseph DePremio Jr. in veterinary science, Dylan Batomer in automotive technology. So congratulations to these students on their accomplishments. And that's my report. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Eveslag, and congratulations to all of the students that Dr. Eveslag has recognized tonight. Is there any other comments from any board members? If there are no comments, then I am looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. David Brown. Oh, I'll second. Eric.
All of those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, and so that is the end of the meeting. Thank you for attending tonight and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Now.